Anyhow, so now we're working on the preliminary discussion of homelessness. I don't have any charts on this one. This is to get the process started, to figure out how we want to do, who wants to do things. I have notes from a couple months ago where people said that they were interested in following up on this. I know that the county has had an ongoing process that is making progress. I know the city is working on it. I know the county is coming up with something in, I think, November. And we wanted to have a committee that got involved and learned about it. And
I have met with my city council.
Okay.
Caller.
Okay.
This issue, and he's got about as many answers on what we need to do as everybody else in this valley. I've been reading notes literally on a daily basis posted on our next door. Oak Grove School District instructor, a teacher, asked me if she could go to the meeting with me, and we met with Osh for more than an hour and a half.
Wow.
But it really is, it's a complex issue, and I do plan to contact Ray Branson and some others at Catholic Charities, and I'm just, it's just, I literally feel like it's such a quagmire that I really don't know where to start out. After they got rid of the jungle, it created a much worse problem for us. And we've got, a 0.4% vacancy rate here in this valley. We've got 25,000 people waiting at the county level for Section 8. And the unfortunate, what makes it even worse, is that those people who do find houses that maybe are empty, they cannot afford it. One of the, a factual situation that the teacher told Osh about is she's got a child in her class who was all of a sudden, they just noticed this child who was really quite motivated, just seemed to be very depressed, was just crying, and they could not figure out why. And finally, through this child, they determined that his mother and father, both educated with degrees, are homeless. Mm-hmm. The child was sleeping in his car. They were going to different, gas stations or whatever, bathing, and so it is an issue that is so huge. I've just got to admit to the commission, I don't know where to start, but I am going to get started. As you can see, I did not forget about that issue.
Yeah, but he does not around us.
Matt.
So what I was going to suggest as a starting point in this question, on this issue, or as the natural starting point, is, really what we need to be developing is what questions do we want to ask, who are the people we need to ask them of, and from that, this is, questions along the line of, what are you doing when there's a chronically homeless person who camps on a sidewalk? What agencies are responsible, who can do something about it? And then the ultimate report that we may be coming out of with this commission is that, speaking to our neighborhoods, people feel there needs to be more emphasis on. So, like I said, you're right. It is a huge topic. And so, it's good to gather what are those questions? What are the things where we just don't know what they're doing?
Thank you. Yeah, I think the hugeness of this topic is something that's prevented this commission from looking at this on a real serious basis and taking it on as a work item in the past. However, with the recent publicity surrounding the county's proposal, I think it's the county's proposal, about using, as I mentioned earlier, parking lots for transient folks that have to live out of their cars. I think that puts it in right in the bullseye of what we're supposed to do here, and that is look at is that a good proposal? If so, where? How does it impact neighborhoods? I have a lot of opinion around it, so I'll try to keep my opinion out of it at this point. Although I will tip my hand and say that there may be some validity around this thing of having a place for folks rather than being forced into the back of a Shell station, like you pointed out, Norma, with a family that is with children, forced into neighborhoods, into being rousted in the middle of the night by police that are enforcing the law, that they're not supposed to be sleeping on the street in a car. Is there another alternative? But is that alternative worse than the circumstances it is today? Do you put that next to a neighborhood like it's been proposed by some in a VTA parking lot that is in District 10, about 3 miles from my house? I think not. So, but I think there may be I think this is an area and a piece of this huge issue that we can actually impact. And I would be honored to be a part of working with you, Norma, and everyone else on trying to look at it from a standpoint of what we can actually do about it. Because if we try to address it too broadly, we're just not going to get anywhere. We're just going to be a repository of hearing a lot of endless discussion and presentations. But I have a lot of respect, I think, as most of us do here, if not all of us, for Ray Bramson and his opinion and his work that he's done. So I'd really like to get him in as quickly as possible and then see how we can affect the county's proposal where there's $26 million sitting out there. They're going to do something with that. And I want to know how they're going to spend it and how it's going to impact the neighborhoods in San Jose.
Marie?
There's a bill coming up, and probably everybody saw it. State Senator Carol Liu, Democrat from, I think it's La Cañada. I don't know where that is. And it's SB 608, and it says sleeping, sitting, standing is not, it's not illegal. And there's 130 advocacy groups in Colorado, Oregon, and California who are of this idea that you can, sleep on the sidewalk and you're not, doing anything wrong. So a new neighborhood organization is meeting tonight at Frost Elementary School. And I don't know about you guys, but all you need is a controversy to get a neighborhood group going. And that's what this neighborhood group is forming, because at Blossom Hill and Snell, since, the jungle is gone, there's I don't know, 100 people camping, and they're, with all the stuff that goes along with them. They're cooking, they don't have a place to go to the bathroom, and people are complaining, like, not in my backyard. They don't want the people staying in their cars in our area that is, where you get on the light rail, which would be a good place for them. So that's what I'm looking at. The other thing is I wanted to address this, and that's what I don't know, is we seem to have something, we always are talking about rules because rules is a conduit to the city council, and I understand that part. But there's also a commission called, or a committee called Neighborhood Services and Education Committee. They're doing about the same thing we do. They talk about the same issues. And I'm wondering, should we, and by the way, you report to them, because in April, our old fellow, I'll never forget his name, Guzman.
Gussman.
Yeah. Pardon?
Gussman.
Yeah, Ernest is what I couldn't remember his name. Sorry. The thing of it is he reports to, and so I'm thinking they're meeting tomorrow at 1:30. Is there any use for one of us to go to that meeting and just show up? Now, don't say anything, but get a sense of what they're doing and how they're attacking the same problems. I'll send this around if you like, just to see what this is. And you probably all know about it, but it was news to me. We could go to rules. We could go to this meeting, too, once a month. I mean, rules is every couple of weeks. But this thing seems to me that we should be connected somehow, or at least aware of what they're doing. Do you go, Larry? Maybe he goes already. Do you go to this?
I have not gone to that one, no.
Yeah, okay.
It would be
Thank you.
good It would be good to have commissioners go and listen and report back.
I would
and
think
let us
so,
know what's
yeah.
going on. Yeah, I see, yes. I was just
Okay.
finishing the sentence here. Yes, Juan.
Oh, my goodness. So I appreciate that this subcommittee, the homelessness subcommittee, will check in with the gentleman that works for the city. Branson, I think is the last name. I think it would be beneficial if you also connected with the county. I know that earlier there was speculation as to what the county is planning, and I think if we had a good idea of both sets of solutions, I think it could be helpful. I'll point out that Janice Rombeck is here, and she might have a little information regarding what the county is planning.
So, are you finished talking?
I am.
Okay. Takes 10 seconds.
I want to say what the county is not planning. There is no proposal going forward to use any county parking lot or any county land at all for what they're calling a safe parking program. That is one of the recommendations that the task force came up with, but no site has been identified. There was a misrepresentation on the news, and Almaden Valley, District 10, and I can perfectly understand the confusion, but there is no proposal going forward for that. The person in the county is named Key Lee. He's Director of Supportive Housing, and he works with Ray Branson. They work very well together on homeless issues and affordable housing and emergency shelters. The main thing that what both the county and the city are trying to do is get something done before winter. If we do have an El Nino, if we do have a very severe winter, it's going to be very difficult for people staying outside. So they're looking at all the tools of the toolbox, whether it's micro-housing, whether it's, expanding shelter beds, if it's, some modular housing you can get, or if it's the Plaza Hotel, or if it's, everything's being looked at, but nothing is being proposed yet. But there is a sense of urgency on the side of both. The other thing I wanted to say is the $26 million that Nick referred to, that is a cost estimate if the county approved all of the recommendations, ideas, concepts, plans that the task force so far has come up with the help of the staff, then that would total $26 million. No one really has set that aside. That would have to come out of general fund, or there's a lot of federal funding. There's housing vouchers and all of that. But I just wanted to clear that up. It's been a very volatile, hot issue in the community. So I guess that's all I wanted to say.
May I
Unless you have questions, sure.
that Johnny Camus, I guess, was so, I would say, taken aback about this issue of the safe parking near him that he had a long editorial. I'm sure you read it, Nick. In his newsletter explaining.
Yeah, but I read it too, and he's saying there is no proposal.
There is no. That's right.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know how it got started, and
I know how it got started,
so,
but it's
yeah.
not.
Oh, yeah, but
not true.
but yes. So it has been a real hot issue in districts, not just your district, but District 2, and just today. I mean, over the weekend, there were all of these yays on Nextdoor about them cleaning out Snell and Blossom Hill. And today, there's a posting on Nextdoor saying they're back. So, I mean, they just rotate from one night to the other. And like I say, it is such a perplexing issue. I don't know what to say.
Okay, let me interrupt.
Okay.
So, Nick, you have to leave, but did you want to be on the subcommittee?
I do.
Okay.
I'd like
Thank
to
you.
offer
Thank
my time for the subcommittee for homelessness. I think I
Okay.
have something to add.
Just wanted to catch you before you're
Yeah,
leaving.
thank you.
Okay.
And I just-
So I've been attending some of the meetings. I missed the last one, but I've heard different solutions talked out there. I've heard them talk about.
I would be glad to email email you the link to the report. It's going to be taken up at the board meeting on Tuesday, so at 9 o'clock is the
No, I was
agenda just came
worried-
out
I've heard
today.
them talk about safe parking, but then they go through and they say, I don't want it in each one of the council districts, and that kind of.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if each one is objecting to it.
That's it.
And
Yeah.
if it's everyone says not in my backyard, then that's not a solution. I've heard
Right,
them say, let's put
exactly.
them out in the campgrounds, and I said, well, that's not a county park campgrounds. And I said, well, I said that's not a solution. I know as a former park commissioner, I know there's only so many parking
Yeah.
spaces, campsites in.
There'll be a lot of-
Cold in
of-
the winter, so that's not a
There'll-
solution.
yeah.
Everybody says not in my backyard.
That's the complexity that Norma's talking about of it. Everybody wants to help, but
Not personally.
a lot of people have a lot of fear of what's going
Yes,
on.
yes, I just wanted to add that Marie and I were at a meeting, when was that? A week ago this past Monday, and this was a real big issue. And what is making it a little bit maybe different from the homelessness we've had in the past is that they're finding drug paraphernalia over by Lean and Calero, where little children have to walk to school. And they are finding, apparently, from what I understand, I don't know, that the homeless, the people from that community used to not be so violent, but now a lot of them are just angry and they want to fight. And of course, that creates even a bigger issue for those of us who would like to help. I'm not going to say anything.
Desiree?
Well, Desiree Berrigan, District 3, I would like to see, hopefully, this is just an idea, could the city use our community centers, the ones that have the gyms, to help with showers or even some kind of services for, washing clothes? I mean, those are simple things, everyday needs that need to be met. And I've spoken to a lot of the homelessness in District 3 in my area, and that's what they're asking for. They're like, I wish Roosevelt Park could offer their showers, that would help. I've had homeless people come to my gate asking if they could give me $5 for a shower. And, of course, it's the safety issue where my heart wants to tell them yes, but I have to think about it logically, and I have to say no. And I do recommend, well, maybe you should try the community center. And that pops up in my head all the time. And I know there's other people that have this same thought, but maybe we should really push that through. Maybe there could be a certain time period where, showers are available. Maybe there could be some kind of waiver system in place. And as for helping with washing the laundry of the homeless, I know one person recommended, is it Grace Community Center? Mm-hmm. And that's off of South 10th near San Jose State. But I think we should see more services like this. They are needed. And that would assist in a different part of approaching how we could help the homeless in our area. So.
Jackie, you wanted to say something.
So there was just a few opportunities I wanted to make you all aware of, just in case you wanted to watch meetings and kind of get up to speed on any of this if you're interested. So tomorrow at the Neighborhood Services and Education Committee, there will be a verbal report from Ray Bramson on some of those programs that he conducts, and just a status update on that. So that's tomorrow.
Hang on, is that county meeting that we were talking about?
No, it's not.
Separate?
This is the Neighborhood Services and Education Committee here for the City Council.
I have to leave, and I can't type it this quickly. Would you be able to communicate with us what you're about to say as far as the meetings we can attend?
Send it to
Oh, yeah,
Michelle.
sure. I'll just email it to
that'd be
Michelle and
fine
she
if you think.
can distribute.
They meet here.
They meet here. And then next week on Tuesday, the 15th, like what Janice said, the county is going to be reviewing some recommendations from the Housing Task Force. You all are advisory to the City Council, but the City Council does have a representative that sits on that Housing Task Force. And then that's one thing. And then the second is that at the City Council meeting here, there's going to be a review of homeless programs as well. So just some of the programs that we pay for, like rapid rehousing vouchers, things like that. Not that you all have said that you wanted to weigh in on this, but just if you're interested in seeing or learning, hearing, they're all being discussed in these like very, upcoming meetings very, very soon.
And those city meetings and the county meeting now are all videotaped, and you'll be able to watch, you can watch them if they're at a time you can't attend.
I'd like to comment on Matt's comment. The answer of what we can do
Pass it on.
as a commission of neighborhoods might be to ask the question, what can we do? And not what are you doing, but that's one of the questions, but one of the questions should be, what can we do? And as Desiree pointed out, sometimes something very small can be very huge. And I think the wall should be blank and throw everything on it. And maybe there's something we can do that may not be big, but it means a lot. Just a thought.
Okay, Marie, you had a question, comment, or? No. Yes.
Just a comment. There's 40 acres open. Moffattville is empty. Why can't the state and federal government work together to help the cities and the counties on this homeless issue? 40 acres are empty, available. They may say, well, the land's too expensive for homelessness. What is most important, human lives or tall, modern, electronic buildings? 40 acres are there.
Is that the Onozaka Preserve, or is that something else? Anyhow, let's see.
I just wanted to say that as this homelessness subcommittee works, and I heard all of the government agencies or entities that are working on this, what I just remember is that what we're all here for and what we will do and what we will add is we're the voice of the neighborhoods. And so none of those other parties can add that. That's the value that we will add. And so I appreciate what you're doing.
And so are we each going to say, not in my backyard? That's the question.
Well, I guess on that point is part of what our charge is to go through is also carry information back to the neighborhoods. And I would say part of that is for us to have a little bit of a leadership role and push back on the not in my backyard. Because they're already there in your backyard. They're just somewhat invisible, but
I know where they are. That's for something.
But I mean, as a part of the fears that are out there, and the drug paraphernalia. Well, they're hanging, the drug paraphernalia is behind the old abandoned Safeway in my neighborhood. There's not homeless people who are doing it. It's residents of the neighborhood that are doing it. So, I think it's of dealing with some of those issues head on, and that's part of the demystifying, debunking, I would say is a little bit of our role too.
So the purpose of tonight was to start the discussion and to form a subcommittee, an ad hoc subcommittee. And so I have previously volunteered was Norma and Richard and Moses, who's not here, but I think he volunteered, and Linda Locke, who's also not here. And then I also heard that Nick would like to volunteer. And would anybody else, up to but not including a quorum of the commission, to learn what you can. Go to the neighborhoods and, Neighborhood Services and Education Commissions. Go to the county staff person. Lee has a whole number of presentations that he's given, and be glad to go through them quickly, I'm sure, with you. And come back, your charter is to come back next month with discussions and input and suggestions as to what we can do. And if we want to take an action, what would the action be? Would we make recommendations to the mayor and city council to forward to the county's committee? Any ideas that we have, or would we want to give information out to our community? So something else.
Simple question on process and procedure. Was it, by what you just said, was a committee formed?
I'm asking
Or does the
volunteers.
commission have to approve an ad hoc?
So I guess I need a motion at this point. Would you like to make a motion?
I move. that
Okay. Is
Commission
there
be
a
formed.
second that we
Or
make.
committee be
information?
formed.
Okay. So discussion. We have, let me write down the names again just to confirm, is Norma. Do you want to take the lead on this thing, and you?
Yes.
Okay, excellent.
So what is the
And Nick said he'll.
To form an ad hoc
Forming
committee
the ad hoc.
consisting of Norma, Richard, Moses, Linda, and Nick, and anybody else want to be involved?
That's at 5 right now.
That's 5. Anybody else? Okay, to meet, Norma will help guide you and make suggestions and come back next month with
Okay.
enlightenment for,
Okay.
help suggestions. We're trying to figure out what we can do, and let us know what we can do.
Yeah.
If it's information to share, if it's, we don't have to write a letter to city council on everything we do. To answer your question, we're trying to see how we can help with the problem. And I don't want us to just sit around and be a coffee club and just talk amongst ourselves, but if we can share information, or share information up or share information down, that's something that we can do.
And share our information outward to our neighborhoods.
Yes.
A big part of what I've heard in District 8 is people don't know who's responsible for what. They don't know what to do if there's a problem. They don't know who to talk to. By default, they call the police. And the police say, we're not necessarily the ones for this.
So how to help the homeless, how to help the community, both. It's both sides of this equation.
Yes.
Okay,
Now-
so we have a motion to form a subcommittee with a report. You will coordinate it and
Yes.
get back with us next
I
month with
definitely will. Definitely.
thoughts. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, we have a subcommittee. Excellent. Where'd my agenda go? We have several more things to go do.